Well, we just got the car in on the lift, and this may be the last time we see it running looking the way it does, because now starts the actual build. And the only way to start a build is by breaking it all down from the top to the bottom. So welcome back to this episode of AHC Garage, where we start taking this car all the way down and restoring it from top to bottom. You've seen what we have, you've seen the story behind it, so now it's time to start our chapter of the story where we take this car apart and put the AHC touch on it and bring it back to life. I hope you guys enjoy this, because this is what it's all about right here. So now we're at the point in this build where we're going to start taking it apart, doing the maintenance on it, and getting ready, because, you know, I know there's been some people who knew the car previously and they would like the car to stay how it is, more as a tribute to them, but this is our car. There's no doubting that this was Hugh's car. This will always be Charlotte, but in a little bit of a different form, because if we're going to put it into it, it has all the mileage on it. We're probably going to be changing the color on it, and we're going to be doing some pretty extensive resealing of the engine, refinishing of the suspension, and just overall getting this car up to where we want it and in line with our vision. But the heart of this thing will always be Charlotte. It'll always be that car. But for us, if you didn't know, the heart of this car is a 3.5 liter stroker twin turbo C-Series engine. So the car started off as a 3 liter naturally aspirated, and now it is a custom crank stroke compression built engine that is made for boost. And that's paired up with a short gear JDM transmission gear set and a really aggressive carbon twin disc clutch. So what we are going to do in this episode, this is the breakdown. We're going to start pulling the car apart. That's going to probably start with pulling the engine and the drivetrain out of the car. We haven't done any of this on a lot of videos. We're going to show you how we do it here. I purchased a tool some years back that is a girdle for the lower portion of the engine, so it holds the transmission in the right orientation and bolts up to the part of the subframe. So we're going to use that in conjunction with some of our other tools here to drop the whole motor out. So that'll allow us to get into this engine bay and start cleaning and refinishing everything. So we're pulling her all the way down, and we'll show you how we're going to do it. All right, so the first thing we're going to do before we get all dirty is we're going to disconnect the engine harness and harnesses here that travel through the firewall and go to the engine. When I drop these, we always drop it with the engine harness on the car. It's just the easier way to deal with it. This is similar to an EK, where the entire engine harness will come out with the actual engine and there's no sub harness that goes into the car. To gain access to that area, we have to remove this panel here. You can see the AEM there. We're going to be unplugging the harness from that, and that stuff will come through. Hopefully we don't have to cut a whole lot of wires. If we do, we're going to take pictures, because I'm not quite sure how this AEM is wired into the actual wiring harness of the car, so we'll see how all that goes. But first off, let's pull this panel. Panels are in pretty good condition. Normally they get all messed up. Okay.
Wow, John, look at all those harnesses in there.
Oh yeah. And they all go through the firewall over there. So let's start unclipping. Okay, that should be it. We'll see if it takes a whole lot more with it when we pull it out, though. That's this, that's this. It's a lot to get through that hole, so.
And here's the other one.
This is so much easier when someone's helping you. The last time I did this, I did it on my own.
Really?
Yeah.
All right, so I got a few more connectors here.
Do you think they'll be able to just keep coming through?
I think this is gonna have to come out first as you pull, and then the other one can come out as the other batch.
Everything's out. Gotta disconnect this guy. The little fuel pump transistor. I don't even know why this is still on here. Stuff like that usually gets bypassed on these setups. Okay, so you guys saw us just put Freon and coolant in it. Now we're going to drain all that stuff back out because it's got to come back together. But at least we know the cooling system's intact and working, and the AC system is working perfectly as well. So when we go back together, we don't have to guess or figure anything out. We'll also be going through and putting all new hoses and O-rings wherever they're available to be changed. So let's disconnect the battery and let's start draining coolant. We're almost done with this, pulling the Freon out. Let's go ahead and work on the cooling system now. All right, so under here you have the lines for the water air intercooler, and you have your coolant hoses. And if you can see up in here, look at this thing. She's a little pregnant and soft. Not so good. That is about to burst. See how stiff this one is? See how soft that is? We got coolant leaking with some corrosion here. So definitely something that we're going to be addressing as well. Even the drain is leaking a little bit. We can put new crush washers on these as well and fix that up. So we're going to drain the coolant right now from these two and drain out most of the coolant in the system from down here. There we go. How dirty it got already, huh? All right, that thing's kind of cool, but it also, I don't like that it doesn't really get all the oil out of the pan. We're probably definitely gonna be replacing that with just a regular magnetic drain plug. I also like the idea of the magnetic drain plug because it catches some of that normal engine metal wear and gets it out of the motor. Our pan's gonna need to be re-powder coated and maybe just cleaned up. All of this stuff you see under here, this is all going to be taken apart and gone through and refinished. And the good thing is our aluminum components, which most of the car is made of aluminum, this stuff cleans up real easy. So just a little Scotch pad and some elbow grease will bring a lot of this stuff back. Some of the other metal stuff like exhaust components, we're probably going to have this coated in like a ceramic coating, jet coat that they have around here. And we'll probably be doing some kind of powder coating on our charge pipe just to give it that fresh new look. But overall, this is where we're at. What we're going to do underneath here now, drain out our transmission fluid. We'll have to drain out the intercooler cooling system and then take the wheels off, and we're going to be dropping the whole drivetrain and suspension as one unit here. We'll have to take off our parking brake cables and of course the wheels. But the idea is to get it down as complete as possible because when we put it back in the car, we're going to want the motor as complete as possible. So I think for the most part, the way this whole turbo setup is engineered, it will drop like a regular car minus some of the charge pipe that we're going to have to remove in order to clear it from the car. But this is a pretty cool process. I love doing this. We don't do engine out services on a lot of cars here. That's not really beneficial to the time frame. Timing belts can be done in the car. The clutch can be done with the engine in the car as well. So for engine out services, that's going to be like complete reseals and stuff like that, and some actual engine work like head jobs and stuff along those lines. We've done maybe 3 or 4 engine out services. It's not as common, but it's definitely very satisfying to work on the motor out of the car. So I'm happy you guys get to see this. Seems like there's silicone on this thing. Good boy. There is silicone on it. Put a new crush washer on that at a later date. All right, so we have Freon out, we have coolant out, we have engine oil out, we have transmission fluid out. Now we're going to drain the fluid out of this and disconnect everything. We didn't drain the reservoir up front, so I think we got to come off the top. All right, that's off.
All right.
All right, let's leave it on there. I'm gonna bring this down. All right, first major component off the car. Whew. There it goes. There's one pipe. They're light. Tool I got, and I go, oh cool, I've been missing that tool for a year.
What are you saying?
Nothing, I'm just saying we borrow each other's stuff, you know, like underwear.
Oh.
Yours is kind of tight on me though, Mike. Just saying. The downpipe. Man, this stuff is light. Yeah. All right, so we already got some of our charge pipe out, some of our exhaust out the way. Right now we're going to work on getting this front cross member out. This is an aftermarket tubular cross member that relocates the motor mount to allow for more clearance for all of the turbo goodies going on over here. So this one's pretty simple. We have where the motor mount's attached to it. We have a little bit of a zip tie holding the harness on. We'll get that out. And then we only have a couple of 17 bolts and this whole thing will come out. So let's go ahead and get it out so we can get the shift linkage out, and we're one step closer to dropping the swap. There we go.
Asian.
Yeah. It was tight, but they did it.
There you go.
And that is how you change your air filter. Oh yeah, look at that.
Oh my goodness.
A little dirty, huh? Boom. We got that bad boy out.
Anything is upside down, John.
Yeah, you gotta kind of do it blind. Get that. Get our washer off. Get that off. This comes over the top. This comes over the top. That frees up everything. Now we disconnect our ground from the body. Our brake line here for that, we'll have to drain all that out. Then we'll work on the AC. I thought we drained it, Mike. What was that? All right, so we took the AC compressor off. This is a place where we see lots of leakage on these O-rings. These are some of the ones we're going to replace. We thought we evac the whole system, but I guess there was still some residual. We didn't put a deep vacuum on it, but no big deal. Just made a little bit of a mess. We'll get this wiped up and keep on pulling parts. Alright, so now we have to disconnect the parking brake cable. It's held in with a little pin here. Usually it's a little kind of different clip, but this is what it is. It's not that big of a deal. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and pull the axles out now, because it's going to be a lot easier to do it now than it is when we have the engine out on our trusty lift over here, and we'll show you more about that when we get to the next step. I'm definitely not working on this like it's a monster project. Damn. Woo! Someone said, I do not want that to come loose. There we go.
Oh, that one moved.
This one moves. Ah, we're good. That's a beautiful thing right there. There we go. Watch your hand. Okay. There we go. So we're almost done with everything from the bottom. The last stuff we will get once we're done with disconnecting from the top. So up here we have this whole vacuum line set up. It all goes to the boxes where the map sensor and a bunch of other sensors are located, and some vacuum actuators. So we're just going to disconnect it here. Unbolt this, move it to the side where we're moving this tank. That'll give us access to our hoses down here. Probably going to end up just cutting the hoses because they're getting replaced anyways, and we don't need to waste a bunch of time fighting to get them off. We have a couple more electrical connections, and then we should be good to drop this thing flat on the ground. I'm pretty happy about it. That's one of them. That gives us all the access I need.
It's all the corrosion that built up on the hose.
That's what happens when you let the car sit for so long, man. right, so we are just pulling off the intake manifold covers here so that we can get access to the throttle cable, which we have to disconnect and get out of the way. Okay, we got this. I think this is the injector resistor box. And we got a ground here. One thing I definitely learned when I disconnect any of these fuel systems is I need to vent the cap. I think we can make a nicer line for this when we go back together. Maybe instead of just rubber hose covered with this, we make an AN fitting. I'll put a flare on here. You can probably do AN fittings on all this, make it look a little better. We'll see. All right, so for the most part, every single thing up here is disconnected from the engine. I think, what do we have right here? A little breather on the valve cover. That's off. Oh, that was just a valve cover breather. Everything looks clean, disconnected over here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to disconnect the suspension up here from the upper strut mounts so that when we drop everything out, the struts are going to come out with the whole suspension. See how the sway bar was holding both sides up there?
Mm-hmm.
Leave those right under there for now. All right, let's think that the only thing that's still hooked up is the boost solenoid, and we can get to that from the bottom. So let's go up and address the brake lines and the slave cylinder. That stuff looks like Smurfs.
John, this stuff is blue?
Yeah, I believe you put a silicon-based high temp brake fluid, like a 5.1 in the clutch system and in the brake system.
Man, this slave cylinder is crazy.
So this car normally comes with a pull style. Your regular B series would be push, where it depresses it in. This one pulls your pressure plate out, but the twin disc is a push. So it's a conversion to send it in the opposite direction that it's factory designed from. Valve stem on it. What we're going to do now is we're going to bring this up and attach it to the motor and transmission here. Then we're going to remove it off of this lift. I shouldn't have even bolted it onto here. Then what we can do is go and take off the motor mounts up on top and then come back with this, hook it up to our table, and lower everything after we remove all the mounting bolts on the subframe. This thing's pretty helpful because it has a little piece to support the transmission and to support the oil pan. So now, with this bracket up here, we'll get this table out the way. We can go up and release the engine mounts. So the next thing we will do is lower the engine down with this table. We don't need to bring it all the way down, just need to roll it out our way. One out. Two out.
Got it. Tilt it forward. I got it.
Like that?
Yep. You're good right there. How you doing back here?
I look good.
Right.
We're past the throttle body.
Yeah, I'm gonna sneak up here real quick just to look. Look like we're all clear up here, John.
Everything's looking good here.
Yeah, looks good here.
You want to come take a look at the alternator
Yeah,
area?
I'm gonna come on
here?
this side.
Because we can scoot over some.
Oh no, we clear. Okay.
How's it looking?
Good. I'm clear here.
We're all the way clear.
Oh, we're good. I think that's the
That's
coilover.
Yep.
Wow, looking good.
Yes, sir. It's almost like we know what we're doing. Almost. All right, guys. So, goal achieved. The powertrain is out of the car. It's pretty impressive to look at when you see it like this because it's a complete unit, including the suspension, the brakes, the engine, the entire power unit is one. This bracket makes it very easy to do that. Super thankful to have that. I got that from Chase. He took care of us on that one. But as you see here, we got the entire unit out. Our engine bay is open. We're going to start assessing what the engine needs. We showed you the issue that we were having with the cam. We're going to open it up and see the extent of the damage and then assess what our next step's going to be. Do we have to take the head off? Does it have to go to the machine shop? Do we just have to replace the cam? Are the lifter rockers damaged from this? And once we assess that part of it, we're going to go ahead and start breaking this down and cleaning, resealing, replacing the clutch, all new seals, all new hoses, coating things that have to do with the exhaust, getting our new valve covers, refinishing our intake manifold, repowder coating this, that, the whole 9 yards. But it's out. I hope you guys enjoyed the process because it's pretty satisfying to take it out. It's not a horribly big deal, but through some of our previous videos, you've seen that most of the maintenance that you do on this major maintenance, such as timing belt or clutch job, you can do with the motor in the car. And there's not a huge advantage other than the timing's a little bit easier to do out of the car. The transmission or the clutch is definitely not easier to do by doing it this way, because what you'd have to do now is remove the engine and transmission from here and then remove the transmission. With doing it in the car, it's simple, just like a B series, like you've seen some of our other videos where you just take it off. But for the most part, this is what we got. Give you guys a good look at what everything looks like out of the car. And this will be the most complete it is till we start taking apart, breaking it down, cleaning, refinishing, and getting it ready to go back in the car. This also frees up our engine bay to do cleaning, reassess everything that's going on there, maybe clean up some of the wiring that's on here, maybe reroute the wiring in a better location. And I think that's going to wrap us up for this video. It's been very fun for me. This is very satisfying. Me and Mike, this is the first time we've got to really do this kind of work together. We did a good job, I think, together. And from this point on, it's only going to be more interesting. So make sure you guys check us on the next one, because we're going to be going inside the motor and showing you a little bit more about the similarities between the inside of this engine and a B series motor, and some of the upgrades that it has, and we're going to assess the damage inside. So make sure you guys follow along for this series. This one's pretty cool, totally different than other stuff that we've done. Make sure you like, subscribe, ask us some questions, and we're here to answer them. Thank you very much, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.